All right. So today I want to talk a bit about my journey of being 400 days sober. Okay. Why I made the decision, what benefits I've noticed from doing it, and just my overall sort of journey with like doing a dopamine detox, taking back control of, just my mental, my attention in this insane modern society that we live in where we're constantly being bombarded with hundreds of different messages a day and opportunities and just constant distraction. So in my last video, it's been a couple months since I've been on my channel. I had to take a full dopamine detox, a full break away even from creating content on YouTube, because I realized I was just getting sucked in, constantly sucked in. I just had these habits I had to break. So it's been a long time since I made a video, but sometimes I do this. Sometimes I have to go away for sort of months at a time to bring back new insights and redirection to the channel. And that's really what a personal brand is about. It's about documenting your sort of evolution, just as you move through life, right? And so that's kind of where I've been. I've just been working on myself, and obviously this is a self-improvement channel, right? Specifically just lessons that I want to be teaching to my younger self, insights that I wish that someone had given me. Okay, so let's talk a bit about it. So basically, I've been on a journey of dopamine detoxing. Most of you know I was on that for at least of my subscribers. And this journey was about me removing distractions and things that were, if you don't know what dopamine detoxing is, let me just explain that first. Basically, it's like there's so many in the modern world, there's so many different things that can distract you, right? And so like social media, let's just say you're scrolling on social media. Okay, you're getting dopamine hits from that, right? And you kind of get addicted to doing it, so that whenever you have downtime or free time, you just find yourself on TikTok scrolling, wasting hours when you know you should be doing something else. If you're experiencing things like that, it could be with social media, TV, it could be alcohol, it could be weed, it could be porn. It doesn't matter what it is, bro. Okay, at the end of the day, you need a dopamine detox, which means you need to ratchet back where you're getting your dopamine from and reattach it to getting dopamine, which is like that feel-good chemical that motivates you to take action. You need to be getting that from productive things that are going to level you up as a man instead of waste your fucking time. That's basically what a dopamine detox is about, to put it simply, right? So I've been on this journey of slowly removing things and cutting things out of my life so that I can progress faster at a faster rate and not just waste a bunch of time. So if you look on my channel, I got a bunch of videos of me talking about that process, but then I kind of went dark for like 2 months. Now I'm coming back with just kind of updating on that journey and new insights that I have around it. So basically, in terms of the alcohol side of things, I was a couple months ago, I was already well into my journey of being sober, but I've removed a lot of other things that were distracting me and basically stopping me from becoming the man I needed to by taking the actions I needed to every single day. And part of that journey is, of course, removing alcohol. And now I think today is actually my 400th day, bro. So over a year sober. And this is crazy for me to say, because I used to be so like, I'm just someone who loves to drink. Okay, I don't care what it is. It could be wine, beer, liquor, bro, just on the rocks straight. Like, I just love drinking, bro. I just love the feeling that you get from it. You know what I mean? It just feels so good. It doesn't taste the greatest, but like just the feeling you get is great. But what I started to realize was, okay, last year when I was drinking, I realized I woke up, it was a weekend, right? I woke up, I go to a party, I'm drinking, I get pretty hammered. I wouldn't say I was completely like blacked out drunk, but I was pretty hammered. So that was like, I think of May 10th. May 11th, I wake up, I feel like complete shit. It's a Sunday. I needed to get a bunch of things done for the upcoming week, and I don't get them done that day because I feel like shit and because I'm just out of it. I'm just foggy. And so Sunday goes by, I don't get done what I need to. I land on Monday and I'm reflecting and I'm like, dude, I'm not performing at high level. I skipped the gym. I didn't go to the gym. I wasn't hitting my macros. I wasn't doing any of the things I normally do because of this. And I noticed that there was a cycle. So it was like every weekend I was doing this, okay? Now, at that point last year, about May 11th last year, I had already cut back massively, where I had been drinking daily or every other day or multiple times a week after work for probably over a year, right? So that was getting pretty bad. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but I was pretty heavily reliant upon it, right? And a lot of people do that, right? You may even be doing that. drinking every other day, drinking every night, a little bit after work, maybe just a few times a week or on the weekend. But I was at that point where I was drinking like every night, every other night, or multiple times per week. And so I was realizing, okay, this is not good, right? So I started to cut back, but then May 11th hit, and I was like, dude, even though I'm only drinking every weekend basically right now, like I just feel like this is like it, like I drink and then for like a few days after, I'm just not productive. I'm not doing what I need to do. I feel like it's holding me back. And so I decided, I'm gonna go sober. I'm gonna go sober for a year. I'm gonna do it. I didn't know if I could actually pull it off, but I'm gonna do it. So I ended up doing it. I made it a full year. We're now on day 400. And I just want to come on here and encourage you, if you're thinking about doing this, how much it's going to change your life. Okay. Now, it's not anything like insane. It's not like I just went absolutely crazy and like everything in my life is perfect now and I've gotten everything I want. But I've progressed so much that I know I made the right choice by doing it. Right. So, yeah. So really, I hit a year, 365 days, May 11th, and now we're at 400 days. And really, some of the main things that I've realized about it is, in society, alcohol is it's really the one drug that is like, it's not only socially acceptable, but almost socially it's not just that it's socially acceptable, it's almost pushed. Like there are so many times during my journey, right, where I wasn't drinking and people almost seem like offended, right? Like they got offended. So it wasn't that they were outright saying something that they were offended by the fact I wasn't drinking, but I could feel their energy. And their energy was like, it was a bit affronted by the fact that I'm like, no, I'm not drinking. It was a bit affronted. And what I realized that is when you as a man start to level up and you're making sacrifices so that you can get to where you want to go and achieve your goals, right? Especially like I talk about a lot on this channel when it comes to, being a man and leveling up. There's really two main results you want to focus on getting, which is number one, getting your physique in place, right? Making sure that you're operating with that at the highest level. And then making sure that you're aligned, like you're making the money you want to make, but you're doing it in an aligned way. If you can get those two things on, you've mastered yourself and you are now a desirable man, right? To the marketplace, to women, to whatever. So those are really the main things I talk about getting accomplished as a man. So when you start to work towards those things and you're making sacrifices so that you can get to that place every single day, when you tell people that you're not doing a behavior that's like commonly done in society, there's almost this sort of like they get almost a reality check. It's almost like a wake up. It's like a slap in the face, kind of like, yeah, I don't do this behavior, because we all have a conscience, right? And typically that conscience kind of notifies you what you should and shouldn't be doing. And so I think for a lot of us, we drink, but like in our conscience, it's kind of like, yeah, we probably shouldn't be doing this, at least this frequently, but we're just kind of override it, just bury it. And so one of the first things that I've noticed is that people get kind of like a little bit irritated, or they feel defensive. I guess that's the best word, right? They feel defensive when you say, oh, I'm not drinking, because what it does is it's a reminder to them of their own conscience telling them that there's a higher version of themselves waiting. So I noticed that's the first thing that started to happen. So when you go on this journey, if you try to become, you're cutting out vices, it could be alcohol. Like for me, it was alcohol. And for you, if you're watching this video, probably similar, right? But it can be other vices too, like junk food, whatever. You're going to be tested. Okay. It's almost like you're going to be tested by social pressure, by peer pressure, right? Because people might kind of push back, right? And this is also a really good way to tell kind of who you should be around and who you shouldn't. Because if you're trying to better yourself and someone is telling you like, oh, well, like, you're going soft, or like, oh, you should be drinking with us, or like whatever they might say to try to get you to basically pull you back down, like crabs in a bucket mentality. Those are people you should get away from. You want to be around the people who's like, yeah, I'm not drinking anymore, I'm trying to be sober. And they're like, wow, congratulations, man. I'm looking forward to doing that someday. Or just like, congratulations. Yeah, you don't want to be around people who are dragging you down or making you feel guilty or bad about you trying to ascend upwards as a man. That's the last thing you want to do. So when you go down this path of quitting these things, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be tested by the people around you, and it's also going to expose the people that you should not be around, okay? It's going to expose them. And it's going to give you clarity on who you should be spending time with and who you shouldn't. Because as you know, I'm sure you've heard this before, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So if you're around people with mindsets so negative and so low that they actually want you to stay in vice with them to make themselves feel better so they don't have to change, not the people you want to be around. So that's the first thing, okay? And as I started to remove alcohol from my life, I started to notice that I could hear my conscience more, right? I could hear my conscience. And I don't mean like conscious, like your conscious mind. I mean like your conscience, which the way I view that is like it's your internal compass as to what you should be doing, what's right, what's wrong. And that's become clearer and sharper as I've basically backed off of these things. So it becomes almost spiritual in a way, because it's like as you walk this path, there's a spiritual warfare going on, okay? And so as you start to remove vices out of your life and distractions, your conscience becomes clear, right? And I noticed that like just spiritually more aligned, right? Because spiritually more aligned with God and stuff. And I never was like super heavily religious, but I just noticed that I'm naturally going in the direction of reading the Bible more, feeling more connected with God and prayer and things like that from this process of removing these vices. And I'm gaining more and more clarity, right? And that's not that's not to try to push you in any direction in terms of religion, because the way I view it is that's all natural. It all comes naturally. But my point is just to say, you become more spiritually powerful, and your conscience becomes and operates at a higher level when you're not sedating yourself with all these vices and you remove them from your life. So that's probably one of the first things I've noticed. Next thing, obviously, on a practical level, like my physique has absolutely improved 100%, man. Like, you don't understand when you're drinking alcohol the damage you're doing to your body, right? It's just seen as, oh, it's cool, whatever, we're young, we can handle it. And yes, that's true. But the thing is like, if you're operating at a high level with alcohol, what can you do without it, right? So if you can be okay with alcohol, you're going to be like top tier without it. So that's what I realized is that you have to have a hunger to be the highest version of yourself and operate at an elite level. It's not enough to just be, oh, I'm okay, I'm good. I was born with, pretty good genetics. My physique looks pretty good. I put in work a couple times a week. That's not enough. Because if you're okay with who you are now, there's no reason to change. And that's the problem, is a lot of people, this entire society is designed around be mediocre, be average. You're okay how you are right now. Like, you can't listen to that. That's societal programming, bro. You can't listen to, oh, you're fine the way you are now. You'll hear tons of people say this, and it can be your friends, your family. They're trying to be nice, but what they're doing is they're reinforcing mediocrity, right? They're saying, oh, you're fine the way you are now. It's like, no, you're not, bro. And you're not, because your conscience is notifying you that you need to fucking level up. It's not enough. Like, we're not about, our whole mission here is not to just be okay with not improving ourselves, right? You have to be willing to make the sacrifices to level yourself up. So yeah, that's definitely what I noticed. My physique obviously has become just such a higher level, like the definition, not holding all the water weight, not poisoning my cells all the time. Even my skin is like a lot healthier now, because I'm not constantly, just bombasting myself constantly with poison. That's basically what alcohol is poison. Now, since we're getting deeper into this conversation, I do want to bring up something that I've been considering, which is that we've had like human beings have been drinking alcohol for thousands of years, right? So typically, like, the way it works is, if something is detrimental to the human race, we're not going to continue to do it, because of the fact that it lowers our chances of survival, right? So so alcohol has all these negative physical effects, right? But here's the thing, we've kept doing it for thousands of years. Why? Well, in my opinion, if you look at what actually happens when you drink, there's a lowering of your prefrontal cortex actually becomes more inactive. And what that allows you to do is operate more from emotion, right? More from emotion, more from your heart. And so it allows people to bond. This is why traditionally, if you look at it, the way alcohol has been used was either at celebrations or festivals or whatever, because it's a way for people to lower their inhibitions and actually bond. So I think that it can actually be useful. And I don't want to be someone who's like zero alcohol. But what I think is, unless maybe, and my point of saying this is, I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, right? I've just made it to 400 days sober, and I'm telling you what my experience has been. And in the future, I might drink again, right? I might drink again. I might actually do that, but in the context of, hey, we're celebrating something. We're celebrating some big achievement. It's the whole group of us, and it's a communal thing, and we're not just getting completely blasted for no fucking reason, or getting completely blasted because we hate our lives. No, 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 no. It's going to be an intentional thing. So I've considered that as well, because there's obviously enough of a benefit that human beings have continued to use alcohol, which tells you that there's something actually worthwhile going on there, because human beings don't keep doing things that are like we don't keep consuming things that are necessarily detrimental to the likelihood of survival for our species over thousands of years. That's just not something that we do. So I mean, I just think that it's just a thought I had. I could be wrong about that, but I think that there's something to that. In using it maybe in certain very specific circumstances and with a lot of intention. But on a like that wasn't my case, right? I was just coming home and drinking because I didn't like, the job I had, my physique, the way I looked, my mindset, my relationships. I was just using it as a coping mechanism. And that's what 99% of people do. They're not only drinking when they're like celebrating some big accomplishment or some big win with their team, with their tribe. No, they're just coming home and just fucking drinking. Let me throw back a 6-pack real quick after my day at work, because of the fact that I didn't really enjoy my day. I didn't really feel like my day was full of purpose. So now I have to go kind of sedate myself to make myself feel better, right? And look, dude, most people are going to deny that. They're going to be like, well, I just want to I just want to have a few beers and just relax. And it's like, okay, then why can't you just drink water? Why do you need alcohol, right? It's because there's a feeling that you get from drinking that makes you feel better. It makes you feel relaxed. It makes you feel comfortable. That's why people do it. It's the same thing with smoking, with porn, with video games. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the same shit, right? It makes you feel comfortable. And so you may say, oh, well, what's wrong with that? What's the problem with that? What's wrong with taking the edge off, as so to speak, or just feeling a little bit relaxed and comfortable? Well, my question to you is, or you may say, well, what's wrong with that? And then I would ask you is, like, how okay are you with staying where you are right now? Right? That would be my question to you. How comfortable are you with your current situation? Just imagine where you're at financially, with your physique, with your girl, with your relationship, with the, where you're living. How like okay are you staying right there in that spot 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Like like, are you fine with that? Because what I realized was I'm not fine with that. I just have and look, maybe some people just don't have it, right? Maybe it's just an innate thing, but I have ambition, and I just can't be okay with where I'm at right now. I can't just be comfortable where I'm at right now. But what I realized was the alcohol and the other vices I was doing, especially the alcohol, because it's just so easy for me to drink. It was making me feel comfortable. And you might not think anything's wrong with that on the surface. You may think, oh, well, that's good, because maybe if he wasn't drinking that, he'd go crash out or do something crazy, right? But here's the truth, is that when you're consuming these things and they make you feel comfortable, the problem with it is that comfort keeps you right where you are. Like, if you feel comfortable where you're at right now, you're not going to go through the hardship and the pain and the trials and tribulations to grow as a man, to level up as a man. It's not going to fucking happen, because you're just too comfortable where you are right now. So what I noticed was, okay, my physique is staying the same. I'm not losing weight. I'm not cutting down. I'm not getting, the ripped physique that I want. Why? Oh, well, maybe because it's in my mind, I know I need to do that, and I feel like the pain of it when I look in the mirror. But then I go and drink and make myself feel comfortable again. And then the cycle just repeats. So it's a repeating cycle that you get stuck in. It's like you don't like something about your life, but then you use alcohol and all these other things to make yourself feel better about that pain. But by making yourself feel better, you stay comfortable, bro. You stay comfortable. And so you don't transform. You don't make the transformation. So what I learned is that the fucking hack, okay, this life In this life, there are cheat codes, bro. There are cheat codes that you can find. And one of the cheat codes that I found is if you make your current situation unbearable, if you make who you are right now so painful and you're so disgusted by it, you will make the transformation. If there's a guy who's, say, I don't know, just 30 pounds overweight, whatever. If I look at him and I go, yeah, bro, you look pretty good. Yeah, I can see, I can see a lot of potential. You look pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you're probably fine the way you are, man. I mean, you got a nice family, or you got a girlfriend, you got a nice job. You're pretty good. What is that? Am I helping him? No, I'm not helping him. You may think, oh, that's actually really nice. You're making him feel good about himself. Like you're making him feel good. Like you know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, that's a nice thing to do. That's what I'd probably say. But the reality is that's not the truth, right? Because he's not the highest version of himself that he could be. So instead, what I would do is actually I would remind him of the potential that he's wasting. Yeah, dude. Well, imagine how you could look. Imagine how your girl could look at you, right? Imagine how you could feel about yourself looking in the mirror with an elite level physique from your habits over time that you've created. And so you actually, you see, that's my example. What I'm trying to show you is I'm giving him a vision of the future that he could have, and that causes him discomfort. And so that will push him to move. If I make him comfortable, he'll stay right where he is. So it's the same thing with yourself. If you make yourself comfortable about who you are right now, and you're just fine with that, you aren't going to move forward. It's just not going to happen, bro. You're just going to stay stuck where you are. Okay? So one of the biggest things is if you want to make change, you want to make transformation, what I've learned is make your current situation unbearably painful. Remove all the distractions. Remove the alcohol. Remove the porn. Remove the video games. And you will literally be sitting there bored as fuck and just like, oh my God, my life fucking sucks, bro. And it's like, yes, it does. Now you can use that pain and that discomfort as jet fuel to level yourself up as a man. But if you constantly are too afraid to face that pain and you just keep layering on sedative after sedative after sedative, alcohol and all these other things, you just go back to comfort zone and you just stay right where you fucking are. And the years are passing, bro. Another year. Before you know it, you're 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and you haven't lived the fucking life you wanted to, bro. In your whole 20s, into your 30s, wasted. The hell? That is not going to be my fate, bro. See, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. You have to have that mindset. You have to be willing to sacrifice everything needed to get to where you want to go. Okay? So that's kind of my speech on that. That's probably one of the biggest realizations that I have had over these past couple months is that transformation comes when your current situation, your current life is actually more painful than the pain of change. So if you want to make a change in your life, you want the physique, you want the business, whatever it is, okay? You want the girl, you have to be more uncomfortable and more in pain about your current life and your current situation than whatever it takes to make that transformation. So if you know you need to get your ass to the gym, you have to make your current life more painful, your current day, right? More painful than going to the gym, right? Because going to the gym is painful. You have to tear up your muscles. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get in there and sweat. You might not look good when you're starting. You're insecure and shit. You're by yourself. Maybe you don't have gym buddies like me in the beginning, right? I just fucking cranking it out by myself in there, just like lone wolfing it. Sigma shit. Like, dude, it's tough. But if you allow yourself to instead of going to the gym, I'm going to allow myself to just sit home and play video games. I'm going to allow myself to just sit home and scroll on TikTok. You won't get your ass to the fucking gym. It's not going to happen. Why? Because it's more comfortable to do that than to go to the gym. The gym is painful. The vices are comfortable. So which one are you going to choose? Your brain's automatically going to choose the easy one. But if you cut those things out, if you don't allow yourself to participate in those things, and you have a level of realization that long term you're fucked if you keep doing this, you'll make the change. Right? So if you don't allow yourself to watch TikTok or Netflix or jack off to porn or sit there and eat a bunch of ice cream, and you make it so that you have to literally just sit like this, like I'm doing this video right now, and just sit here and stare at the wall, you'll go to the gym. Why? Because sitting here like this and staring at the wall is actually more painful than going to the gym, because at least at the gym you're going to get a dopamine hit and your brain knows that, so it's going to go do it. So that's what I'm saying, bro. You have to make your current situation more painful than the pain of change, or whatever habit it is that you want to do that's going to lead you to your goal. So yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've understood. That's the biggest thing that I've now been implementing with just, any clients I have, or people trying to make fitness transformations, or really any transformation. But obviously I can help people with fitness because that's what I've mastered myself. But like, that's the biggest thing I've realized. That's the biggest thing I've realized, is that is how you make the transformation. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. People are always like, why am I not disciplined? Why can't I stay? Why don't I have motivation? Because your current situation is too good. You're having too much fun with your current life, bro. Of course you're not going to want to go through all this pain to make a transformation. You're too fucking comfortable with your current life. You're probably still drinking every night or every weekend. You're probably still watching Netflix when you come home from work and playing video games. It's too fucking comfortable. You don't need to change. You don't feel the pain. You're masking the pain. And that pain is the only thing that's going to cause you to actually move forward. So yeah, and just for an example, for me, since I've cut that out for 400 days, right? No alcohol, 400 days. I've lost about, I was at 200 pounds, but this is kind of before anyways, I had already started it. But my physique, I finished up the bulk. Now I'm cut back down, coming back down to 170. I've already lost 25 pounds. I'm lifting heavier. My food is now more on point. In terms of my business, right? My content strategy, although I had to take a break from this because my dopamine detox journey needed to be actually getting away from creating content for a while in order to just learn, lock in, and just sort of re-strategize. But now I'm coming back with even a better content strategy that I developed. Why did I develop that strategy? I developed that strategy because my current situation, I felt the pain of it. I felt the pain of, oh, damn, I got to go do this job today that I don't want to do. I have to go make deliveries tonight and stay up late making deliveries, right? Because I do that. I make deliveries. It can be like Uber, Spark, DoorDash, whatever. Like, I'll make deliveries at night to make money that I need to make. That's painful, bro. I don't want to be out there doing that. I want to be home, asleep, just chilling with my girl, whatever. But like, once I started to give up the alcohol and stop numbing myself, I started to feel the pain of that financial situation. And I go, oh shit, I gotta come up with something else here, right? I got to come up with something else here, something better. So I started developing this whole new strategy of content. But that transformation only happened, that whole strategy that I developed only happened because of the fact that I used the pain and faced the pain of my current situation. So yeah, I want to come on here and share that. That's probably the biggest thing. If you're struggling right now, bro, that's what's going on. If you aren't consistently taking action, or you don't feel the motivation to take action towards leveling yourself up as a man, like there should be like a fire in you, bro, needing to level up every single day. And if you're not feeling that energy, it is because you are way too fucking comfortable in your current situation, bro. You are way too fucking comfortable. You're being an absolute just straight up bitch because of the fact that your current situation is just too comfortable. You're just hiding inside your little bubble of comfort, just being a little bitch in there, just sitting there, just hoping and praying that nothing bad will ever happen and that you won't have to face the pain of change. But guess what, bro? You want to level up. You have to face that rebirth. You have to. So yeah, man, that's what's been going on the past 2 months. We're in summer now. People are wanting to get in shape, I'm helping people out with their fitness, getting them in shape, using this exact formula. Right? Using this exact formula, because it's the only way to transform. You might get on some shit for a week or two, but then you fucking fell off. Why? Because you went right back into the comfort zone. You allowed yourself to go back into comfort zone. So yes, there's a whole system that comes with transforming your physique as a man, your business and finances as a man, that it's not going to be easy, bro. But I'll tell you what, it's way better than sitting there and passing through your youth and through the rest of your life feeling regret about the man you could have been, man. Fuck that shit. I can't think of anything that would be worse than that, bro. Knowing that you didn't put in the effort, that you're like, think about the fact that someday you could have kids too. You got kids and they don't look up to you and see their dad with a ripped fucking physique in the gym working out because he was too much of a bitch and too comfortable. Or they don't look up to him and they don't see him doing like the business and work that he loves and he feels aligned with, and that he can provide for them and make a great living while also doing what he loves to do, because he never wanted to get started on that business because he was too busy watching fucking Netflix or playing video games, leveling up virtual characters. I mean, what the bro, when I think about that, bro, that shit gives me motivation. I'm like, holy shit, there is no way that's gonna be me, bro. So yeah, that's what's been going on. 400 days, that's kind of my experience being 400 days sober. As of right now, I'm just staying consistent. I'm not introducing alcohol back in. I made it past a year, and I'm just gonna keep going. And I'll consider if maybe in the future I want to start like integrating it into like any major like celebrations. You know, I might do something like that if it's with like, you know, friends and family, and we're like, massive like celebration or something, some massive achievement. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll like chill and just and have some alcohol, but I just don't feel like I need it anymore, bro. I don't feel like I need it, and I feel like I'm so much better off without it, right? And that's just also in line with the rest of my dopamine detox. Like, it's not just quitting alcohol that's changed my life. It's also that leads to all the other vices because they all reinforce each other, right? So like if you stop drinking alcohol, well, now you're more likely to not be overeating and binge eating, right? Because you're more aware, you're more alert. You're more likely to actually get done what you need to and be productive. You're less likely to, like I said, be eating like shit, actually hit your macros for working out, actually make it to the gym because you don't feel hungover and like shit the next day. Just there's so many like better decisions that happen when you quit drinking. And I just wanted the message to come across. Like, I just want you to take this message. Like, it's not really about like, like a lot of people, I hear a lot of people when they talk about not drinking, they're like, oh yeah, drinking's bad. It's like a moral thing. It's like, not really, bro. It's really more just like a practical thing like I talked about. It's not really about all this like, oh, well, you're a bad person if you drink. And all. It's not all like weird like that. It's just like, do you want to fucking level up and be successful as a man? Okay, quitting alcohol will increase your chances of doing that. It increases your chances. And as it is, it's already hard enough that the odds are already against you as a man being able to level up and make it in this world. So if you get rid of alcohol and you make that sacrifice, it's just going to give you a boost and help you level up and push harder, right? So it's not all this weird shit. It's just very practical. And yes, there's a lot of spiritual things that'll happen to you when you start to remove vices and you become clear and have a clear connection with God and all that. But I'm not trying to really go into all that. I'm just trying to give you the practical formula of how do you transform your life as a man from being like a weak man to a powerful man, from just being some average man in society who's lost to being successful in reaching your potential. I'm telling you right now, one of the keys is to start sacrificing and eliminating things that are deemed like socially acceptable, right? Because think about it, most people drink, and guess what? Most people are fat, right? Like most people drink, most people are fat. Most people drink, most people are broke. So it's like you see behaviors that the masses are doing. Do you want their results? No, you don't, because I already know, right? Because I don't want that. And if you're watching this video still, I know you don't want that because you're not the type of man that would still be watching this video and be like everybody else. So you already have that innate sort of drive and desire to be great. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to make the sacrifices it takes to get there? Or are you going to end up average like everybody else in this society who just is fine with just being weak? It's fucking disgusting, man. I hate it. It's horrible. But that's the thing, is you have to be the first one. Maybe in your family, everybody's an alcoholic, but you end up being the first one to break that cycle. And now they can look at you and go, oh shit, this guy's leveling up. Look at his physique. Look at his business. He's thriving. Maybe I should do that. Right? It's like when you start going to the gym, like if you have cousins or younger brothers or whatever, they start seeing you going to the gym, and they don't just see you going to the gym, they see the results. They're like, holy shit, this guy's got muscle now. He's getting jacked. He's getting more attention from girls and shit, which is what I want. Now they're like, oh, I should probably start doing that too. So sometimes you have to be the first one in your family to sort of break that curse and be the first one, the brave one, to step out, the leader, right? Sometimes you have to be the leader to step out and do that. So anyways, yeah, that's my experience. Let me know if you have any similar experiences or what you might be struggling with this sort of transformation. Just down in the comments, I can't promise I'll respond because, again, my schedule every hour of my day is planned out. I'm locked in right now, so can't promise I'll respond, but if I get to it, I do. But yeah, bro, you just gotta lock in, bro. You really do. And one other tip too is since I quit alcohol, I started finding lots of other like drinks, whether it be like non-sugary energy drinks like the Celsius, or just like like this, like sparkling water. There's different things you can find to kind of fill that gap. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's basically it, bro. I just want to come on, let you know what's been going on, and just drop that gem. Hopefully it'll be helpful to some of you out there. And I'll see you in the next video.